Welcome to the Buck and Mike Experience.
Experience sports like you never had before.
Where the buck stops.
And the mic drops.
Bam. Hey. How are you this week?
Better than last week.
Yeah.
Had some crud, and I'm finally over it.
Yeah, honestly, didn't even know you were sick last week until you texted me the next day. Like, seriously,
I
had no clue.
I knew I was under the weather, but I was tested negative until the next day when I finally tested positive.
We're all good, though, guys.
Now we're good. 100%.
So, yeah.
I still got a little bit of leftover, but...
Did you already go back to work, I'm guessing, today?
Yeah, I went back today.
Today? Oh, yeah, look at that. So you got a free week of COVID off. Is it still like that in the world?
No, I had to use vacation.
Oh, don't you miss the days when COVID was an exemption?
Exactly.
My wife and I were talking the other day.
The last time I got COVID, it was still not part of that anymore.
My wife and I were talking that, do you realize that COVID is like, it's the marker point in our life. It's like for the people that lived through World War II, it's their great war. Like, we live in a world now where COVID, we had a world pre-COVID and a world post-COVID.
Yeah,
and so,
true.
like, there's people that are older than me that they might have that.
Pre-9/11 and post-9/11.
True, but I was in grade school still in 9/11. And I'm pretty sure you were still in, higigh school? So that's really not affecting your adult life.
Well, that's true.
COVID is that mile marker in our adult lives that when we look back in our 60s and they ask us how was life, you go, well, pre-COVID days were pretty fucking wild. Like, it's what it is. It's crazy to think, though, that every generation probably has one of those. You have the Great War, the Great Depression, World War I.
That is true, yeah.
Every generation's always had that marker point, and unfortunately, I think our marker point's going to be
COVID.
Fucking COVID.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, so,
that's crazy.
Welcome to post-COVID world.
Yeah. Welcome to the post-COVID world.
So, with that, we'll get into all the fun stuff. So, how do you want to go about it today? Do we want to go sports first?
You know what?
We didn't get into movies last week.
We didn't.
I'd say let's lead with it. I'm down for it.
We're already in the whole pre and post.
Pre and post.
So,
post-COVID world has affected the movie industry as much as anybody. I mean,
that is true.
We were introduced to instant stream because of COVID. Like, it never happened. We would all been going to AMC at midnight. I can't lie that I miss those days. That's a pre-COVID thing I miss. I used to love getting to the theater at 10:45, wearing a jacket because it's cold outside because you couldn't get in until 11:45 for a midnight showing and you had to rush because it wasn't pre-assigned seats.
Right.
It was, hey, we might have oversold this bitch, so you better hurry. Right? Oh, I remember getting told going to see, I want to say it was the second Twilight movie. Hey, we didn't shut off online ticket sales fast enough. We oversold the theater by 30 tickets.
Wow.
Yeah, this is out here in Forney. And so we're all sitting there going, we've been here since 7:45. Like, you're letting us in. No, we don't have any seats. You better find a fucking theater.
Wow. Well, speaking of movies, I had a big list last week, but we had a lot going on with trying to catch up and everything. So we didn't have enough time, and then this week there's not really a whole bunch that's going on, so it's actually kind of helped us out to where we can actually kind of do this. So
enjoy all of what we like to talk about.
Yeah, the first thing that I want to bring up is the fact that Meg 2 came out on the 4th, and it's apparently doing pretty well.
It is. It outproduced Oppenheimer this weekend, while Oppenheimer still has access to the IMAX theaters while most movies don't. So. That's an accomplishment because, as you know, an IMAX theater costs you a good $5 extra ticket. So to account for that additional revenue to pass that, it shows the quality of what people are going to see.
Yeah. Something else that's going to be coming out in Friday, actually, is Gran Turismo. So that's coming out. It's going to have David Harbour from Stranger Things.
That's the video game movie, right? This is the first video game movie that I've seen the preview, and I thought, damn, that actually looks really good.
Yeah, David Harbour and Orlando Bloom. Like, it's actually got a decent cast for something that's going to be a video game type movie.
Yeah, my understanding is it's based on a true story, though.
Oh, okay, so they're using Gran Turismo.
This game, I haven't done the research to it, but my understanding is it says in there, like, it's based off a true story. Like, this genuine concept happened with this giant video game contest to try to let someone be a driver.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
So,
okay.
I wouldn't have done it because I'm a terrible video game driver. Like, I've broken Grand Theft Auto. I drive so bad in that game.
I'm terrible at driving games. I'm never
awful. NASCAR even got me, and it was a circle. Like, you're crashing shit.
The other thing that's going to be coming out soon, in 2 weeks, is Blue Beetle. That's got Zolo Maridueña.
It's the kid
Miguel from
Cobra Kai. So I have heard some things on this one. The first release came out for like critics, and they literally gave it 0.
Yeah.
Like they said it was terrible. The next clippings that started coming out, another review process came out, and the pre-movie release is now projecting double the money it was from that one.
Well, that's good.
Something in that process has changed. I like the kid. I really love Cobra Kai. I think he's really good in that. So I hope the stench of the DC universe right now doesn't mess it up for him, because this is his big break.
Yeah,
Cobra Kai's been great, but this is the theater. Like,
this is the first of James Gunn's babies.
This is supposed to be what comes off of Flashpoint, which I still haven't gotten to see that.
I still haven't seen it.
It's so hesitant. It's one of those things where it's like it's because of the Flash. Like I just, that guy, he just irks me.
Yeah, exactly. I'm the same way. And then in 3 weeks we have Ahsoka Tano, Star Wars.
That's the Star Wars show. I do want to see that one.
So
she was
they're going to be doing a double episode premiere. So we'll get 2 episodes. 2 of them, baby. 2 of them. I'm excited about that because I love Ahsoka.
I'm actually still behind on Mando. Like, I never finished last season.
Yeah, and I bet you still haven't watched any of the Clone Wars or anything like that.
I watched 1 episode of one of the Disney ones, and I wasn't a huge fan of it. It was the guy that's a prisoner he's been hiding. I can't remember. I have to look it up now. It's a Disney Plus Star Wars movie or TV series.
Bad Batch?
Nope, not a cartoon one. It was a live action.
Oh, okay. No, these are the cartoon ones I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I remember you told me I need to see the Clone Wars cartoon. I have been told that.
A lot of these people that we're starting to see now are from these shows from Dave Filoni that he created.
Yeah.
So we're starting to see some of his characters come to life on screen, and that's who Ahsoka Tano is someone he created, and is now in our lives.
I'll have to. I've been looking for a show that I can watch by myself, because lately every time I start a show, my wife will creep in. She'll start to watch that show and then realize that she really likes it, and now we're stuck watching it together. And now I can't leave her behind.
I was doing
that with Suits right now. Like I started Suits.
And everyone's doing Suits right now.
It was the previews kept coming up on Facebook for probably 2 years. And then I just got Netflix back, so I started Quarterback. I finished the first 2 episodes, and I was like, it's okay. Like I don't have a huge interest in either. Like I don't hate the people it's about. Like I like Mahomes. I get the in-depth. It's very Hard Knocks like to me without the coaching side of things.
It's Hard Knocks, but I think it's better because there's more in-depth in like the personal
individual
life.
Person. Yeah, and so it's pretty cool. But that was why I started Quarterbacks, because I started Suits, and she walked in on me watching Suits and goes, well, why, you can't watch it without me now. So now we're like halfway into season 2 because it's all we've been watching the last 2 weeks. So no, it's a good one though.
Well, speaking of Ahsoka, I do have something here that I was going to talk about. Is there Disney fatigue? Because you have Ahsoka Tano coming out on the 23rd. You have Loki Season 2 coming out on October 6th. Then you have the Marvels movie coming in on November 10th. So those are the movies that can rescue Disney, because right now Disney has lost over $900 million.
Now, part of that we've talked about is the agenda issue. I believe we've talked about that before, how Disney likes to keep their subtle agendas.
Indiana Jones, Ant-Man Wasp Quantumania, Elemental, that was, the remake of Haunted Mansion that Eddie Murphy did not too long ago.
Yeah.
So they remade that.
I didn't even know that was happening.
No, neither did I.
I knew they did the Little Mermaid.
So all 5 of those lost money. Like, even though they made money, but because of how much they had to spend
to the budget
on, they made over budget, but how much they had to spend on commercials and all that extra stuff, they actually lost money on it. The only one that made money was Guardians of the Galaxy. That was $844 million profit. So they lost $900 million. So they even though Guardians of the Galaxy made $844 million. So imagine if they didn't drop Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Yeah, that's true. No, I'll say some of it comes down to
big name, low quality.
Well, it's not even just that. I don't think that some of the quality is that bad. I don't think Ant-Man and the Wasp was a bad movie. Like,
I did.
You didn't like it? See, I didn't mind the movie. I thought it was an okay movie. I just think that we still run into the problem that everyone wants it to be the best.
That's no. That's the problem, though. It was just an okay movie.
And that's the thing, though.
Like,
people have to understand.
We need to. This is like your baby, and you're trying to keep people. You can't put out a subpar product.
But you can't make every movie be Endgame. And now,
no, you can't.
Every movie is being compared to Endgame.
At the same time, at the end of Ant-Man 2, did you go, man, I can't wait for Ant-Man 3?
No, not really.
Okay.
I mean, I can see...
And it needs to.
I can almost say that I think that Ant-Man 2 was less necessary than Ant-Man 3. Because I actually think that Ant-Man 3's message is important, especially now that there's a chance that everything with Jonathan Majors might be getting washed away.
It's not.
Yeah, now that that's going to be the case and he's going to be able to continue his role, Ant-Man 3 plays a part. Yeah. Because you have to know that someone beat what was seen as the big bad, because now all the big bads are coming, and that's why we're about to get into it with Loki.
Yeah. Like, we needed it, but it wasn't, to me, it wasn't what it should have been. It was not quality movie experience. Yes. It was boring.
I think they could have done more to the movie, but I think the movie's message did its job of setting up what's coming.
You could have done a short for that.
Sure. And
so that's my thing. I don't care if the movie's message went through.
Yeah.
If the movie wasn't good, because a lot of people are going to go, no, I didn't watch it because after about 30 minutes I quit because it was terrible.
Yeah. I understand.
You need the movie to be good too.
I do fear that the Marvels will get bad reviews. I don't think that it'll be anything but people. The show, the Miss Marvel show, was okay. It wasn't bad. Like, it was okay. The ending was really good. The beginning was really slow. Like, it was hard to get into.
I watched a little bit and I kind of gave up just because it was very kind of kiddish. And I was like, this is more towards the kids, and I'm not into it.
It was hard to get into. The ending was pretty good. Like, there's some story to it. But I don't think that people care for Captain Marvel. Like, she's always had this persona of being kind of a bitch.
Brie Larson.
Yeah, and so, though I think she's actually really good in the role, like taking the off the there's that whole issue we have, kind of like we talked about with the Flash. We haven't really watched the Flash because we don't like the character Ezra Miller. It's not that we don't like the Flash. I love the Flash. The general idea of the Flash is amazing.
Yeah.
I don't like Ezra Miller, and so I can kind of see a fear that the Marvels will take a hit because there has been backlash at her. She has been an outspoken person, and people, similar to how people yell at athletes and say shut up and dribble, people are starting to yell at celebrities like that and tell them to shut up and act.
Yeah.
And when you are outspoken, you catch backlash and they take it out on your movies sometimes.
Yeah.
And so,
a
little worried there.
Marvels, well, one, I just don't think the Marvels was necessary. I mean, it's going to be necessary because they're going to tie in. But I don't think the film itself was something that I was going, we need the Marvels to tie things in.
Yeah.
It's just going to be another movie.
I think that what they could have done better in truly is that they set too much of a precedent with some of our early Marvel people with extra additional movies that maybe they didn't need to keep up, and so they feel like they have to keep that kind of going. Like, Iron Man was a good movie.
Well, but you also had better characters that people cared about.
True, but Iron Man was a good movie, the first one. Iron Man 2 and 3 were not that good.
No, they wouldn't.
But Iron Man was necessary to everything. But you could have just as easily had Tony Stark be in every fucking movie like he was anyway and not made Iron Man 2 and 3. Yeah, everyone would have been happy. And now you have less movies going forward.
Like, I would be okay with, like, a Captain Marvel movie.
Yes.
Not a trilogy movie. I don't need... Ant-Man, I could have been good with movie because you introduced him. He's a side character. He's not a main character. He's a side character. You don't need all... Paul Rudd is a main guy, but the character itself is just not someone I cared about being the main role, and he's not.
I would have liked to see, I guess, and we're seeing more of it because they're doing the crossovers, but I think it would have been just as easy if they would have just done more crossing and individually just everyone one movie. Give everyone one off to show either a background or their current placement in their story of what's going on, like they've done with some of them. They've done that, like the TV show for Captain America and Winter Soldier. Yeah. That they just did. That was a very good portrayal of where Bucky and him are right now. Like, give them that. Just give everyone variation of stuff like that.
Yeah. That was His little TV series is all we need.
The movie that we got for Black Widow was a good movie, giving her background of what happened. You gave her her piece, and that's it. If they could just do a single off for everyone, like Thor, they're out of things to write for Thor, but because he is so beloved, they keep trying to, and now they've gone over the hedge because they couldn't find the perfect mix that they had in Ragnarok.
Yeah.
Now they went too funny.
Yeah.
And so now they have to come back. Now the worry is you're going to overcorrect. And now if you overcorrect, you're back to the Elf one, which sucked, the second one. Like, no one wanted that movie. And so,
Dark World.
But the only reason Dark World had to happen is we had to learn where the ether was. So, I mean, some of them they had to play in, but...
So speaking of Marvel and the TV shows, I don't know if you've seen Secret Invasion.
I have, yes.
Okay, what do you think about that?
I liked it. I did like that one.
I thought it was hot garbage.
Really?
I thought it was like the worst thing that they have put out so far.
I think it was a nice way to wrap up Nick Fury. Like,
Okay, so you're more about the message than the actual...
Yeah, I look at how the movie sets up the story and how they play the characters roll off.
Yeah, I like, if the show sucks, I don't care about the message. Gotcha. The message doesn't matter if I don't like it.
That, and I go in with really low expectations a lot of times. Like, I prepare myself for anything I like to suck. And so it makes it easier to be okay with it.
What threw me off was, spoiler alert, because it's already over. If you haven't seen it, that's on you. Killing Colby Smulders in the very beginning.
Yeah, that one sucked.
Because it was reported that like this was supposed to be like her series to write her off. And then they killed her off in the first episode, and everyone was like, wait, what? Hold on. It was reported that this was going to be like her series. Like, not Fury's, it was supposed to be hers. Yeah. So then it just like kind of changed, and I was like, okay, that's fine, I don't care about that. The story itself, I understand, and it's okay.
Say this though.
But the show itself just wasn't good.
Tell you what though, that Super Scroll, that ain't something I'd want to fuck with.
And they also decided to make a super duper...
Now that's actually a comic book factual thing though.
I know, but that was probably something that they should have done, because now they just made Superman.
I mean, they made stronger than
everyone
Superman.
loves Superman, but everyone hates Superman movies because Superman is too powerful, and they had to dumb him down for people to like him.
The only reason I hated the last Superman movie is because he killed someone.
Well, yeah, that. But they had to not humanize him, but dumb him down some because he's so powerful.
Yeah.
So they had to and that's what's going to happen with this, is they're going to have to like draw back and go, whoa, okay, we did too much. Now we gotta
find your weakness.
Yeah, now we gotta go back.
Gotta make you beatable.
That's too much.
Yeah.
On top of that, you got The Witcher season 3. Yeah.
Never seen any of it. Heard good things.
Season 1 and 2 was great. I still haven't watched season 3. Yeah. They had 2 parts. I know Henry Cavill is leaving because they're going to do a prequel, so I just didn't hear about watching it.
Yeah.
There's that. Heels. I don't know if you watch Heels, the wrestling TV show.
No.
Got Stephen Amell.
I would need to watch it then because he's one of my favorites.
Okay, it's on Stars.
Okay.
It is a great show about indie wrestling.
All right.
Like home indie wrestling, not like an independent big thing.
Okay.
Like
cool.
Like his family runs it. I don't want to say too much since you haven't seen it, but it's a great show with him and I wrote his name down. Alexander Ludwig. He played Bjorn in Vikings.
Okay, I think I know that one. Yes.
So Bjorn Ironside.
All right, maybe I know the show.
He was the oldest brother.
Okay.
Or he was the oldest son. Sorry, the
gotcha.
Oldest son. So he's the brother to Stephen in this. And he is Jack and Ace Spade.
Oh,
and that's their actual last name is Spade. So Jack Spade and Ace Spade.
Wrestling names.
So it's a wrestling show. Like, it's actually really good. Season 2 is out right now. 2 episodes have been out. It's probably one of my favorite shows to watch. Like, I love watching it.
I'll have to put that one down.
Speaking of wrestling, Iron Claw is going to be starring Zac Efron as Kevin Von Erich.
Okay.
So if you don't know the story of the Von Erichs, a legendary wrestling family from Texas, they were making a movie called Iron Claw, which was their finishing move with the Iron Claw. You put it on their head, you put them down. So Zac Efron is playing Kevin Von Erich, the only Von Erich that lives. Spoiler alert, it's, if you don't know about the Von Erichs, only one of them survives.
Only one's alive.
And Jeremy Allen White, the guy that plays Lip in Shameless.
Okay.
And he's also in Bear, the new TV series on Hulu.
About halfway through season 2 of that.
He's playing one of the brothers, so it looks pretty good from just like the pictures that they've shown.
Okay.
So
cool.
Very interesting. And the other thing is Oppenheimer.
Still doing well.
Yeah. Still doing well. Still telling lies. Still blurring the truth.
Ooh, I haven't heard of that. I've never actually seen it, so I'll have to watch the movie first. I've heard it.
There was a big stink on Twitter about it. So the town that he actually goes to clear, or that's clear, that they test at, it wasn't clear. They forced people out of their homes, forced them back to Mexico because they were Mexicans that lived in New Mexico. They forced them to Mexico, or they forced them away, or they paid them to test on them before we actually used it in Japan. So we were testing on American citizens.
Sounds like us.
And there's an author, I forgot her name, I didn't write it down, but she is the granddaughter of people called downwinders. And a downwinder is someone that lived down from the nuclear side that still got the radiation from them testing there in New Mexico. So,
nice.
There's a big stink on it, and it's just
it might put the kibosh to the rumored second one.
yeah. So there's that going on. That's basically all I got, and then of course Barbie is doing really well. I still haven't seen it. I won't care to see it.
I actually want to. It looks really funny, but I love Margaret Robbie. I freaking love her, so I can't act like I don't.
So we actually did pretty good. 20 minutes on that. I mean, there was a lot. I had a lot written down. So
hey, yeah, a lot of stuff, a lot of things we didn't get to catch. We know we wanted to talk on. With that and the movies and all that fun, I guess we'll roll in.
Tie it right into football.
Yeah, let's tie right in.
I mean, you got the Hard Knocks premiere.
This is true. I didn't get to watch it yet.
I haven't watched it because it's on HBO. I don't have HBO anymore. So.
Oh.
But I'll say this: it's already reported that it has hit for the show, not all shows, just for Hard Knocks. That it's had an all-time digital premiere record, and it's 13% higher than last year's premiere.
Yeah, and I thought last year's was pretty cool. Like getting to know some of the Lions characters is fun.
Yeah,
Campbell was fun to watch, but I mean the names in this season, Aaron Rodgers in particular, and the fact that like me and some friends have already decided I'm going to either adopt that kick-ass Sauce Gardner handshake. Did you see that he had with Sauce? No. So him and Sauce went like this. So put your hand in an L like this. All right, the other way. You got to put the other hand like a high five. And then when they went here, they swiveled it, smoked it, and then they put that bitch out on another player. It was fantastic. I was like, that's my new handshake. Like, he literally just goes, boom. Like, mind you, Sauce is what, that's 24, Aaron's 39, and the two of them just go, bam, bam, boom. It was great. So, yeah, that's all I've seen of Hard Knocks is that. I know they did have their first preseason game. There's already been at least one player cut. God-awful quarterback Chris Stevler got hurt, and then they cut him. He was god-awful last year in the one game he came in, but then again, every Jets quarterback was god-awful last year.
Yeah, pretty much.
They said Zach Wilson looked okay. I think 3 for 5, 65 yards.
Yeah, and his one big play was actually called by Aaron Rodgers.
Was it? Oh, yeah. That's funny.
I saw that highlight, so I knew that much.
I know Dorian Thompson-Robinson played well for the Browns. The kid out of UCLA, he went 8 for 11 with a touchdown.
Yeah,
I mean, it's hard to stink. We're talking backups here, but he also had 6 carries for 36 yards. If you ask me, they're trying out for backup quarterback, him and Kellen Mond. If you ask me, the backup is more Dorian Thompson because he fits the place. Yeah, well, if you go by play style, Thompson's going to play a much more similar game to what you have in Deshaun Watson.
Yeah.
Now, he's not going to be a Deshaun Watson if Deshaun Watson bounces back. He's not going to be that guy, but you'd rather have a guy that if he gets hurt, you don't have to change your offense as much, except for maybe simplify reads.
Right.
So, I would say he's probably the favorite in the clubhouse to get the job. He looked good. Mon had 19 attempts and threw a pick, so who knows what players he was playing. So there's...
I mean, Mon wasn't good in Minnesota. I don't know where he played last year. It wasn't in Minnesota because they got rid of him. Wherever he was,
he's only out like 3 years out of the league too. Like he's not been in the league long.
Yeah,
so
no, they got rid. Yeah, once they realized that he was not anything that they thought he would be, he's been going. But since we're also talking about Cleveland here,
we are.
The Untold Johnny Football is on Netflix.
That is true, and I
watched it today.
You did watch it?
I did watch it.
I've heard a lot of stories about it, some of his interviews, but I haven't seen it.
So I'm just going to say this: it was good. You find out a lot about who Johnny Manziel actually is. He's just a big old frat boy. Like he's an immature frat boy. That's all he is.
Yeah, and apparently A&M knew he was and said we'd rather win football games.
Yes, and as this is actually one thing that I wrote down was Kingsbury and Kevin Sumlin, who was the head coach and offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
They basically created the monster that he became in the NFL because in high school, it showed that he was all about the team. He did everything with the team. They all did everything together. When he got to college and became a star, they were like, as long as we win, we don't care what he does. And then he got to the NFL with that same mindset, and that just went downhill real quick.
Yeah.
But you find out a lot of information though, like a lot of information.
And now he's opening a bar.
How many actual lies were told that we thought were true.
Wow. Yeah, it definitely might be worth giving a look. I've never been a fan of his, but I've never been into it.
As a Longhorn fan, I was definitely not a fan of his because he's an Aggie. But you find out
he beat
grew
Alabama,
up.
So I like that.
He grew up a Longhorn fan.
Oh, really?
He just didn't go there because they didn't give him a scholarship.
Ah, okay. Gotcha.
So he was a lifelong Longhorn fan.
Cool.
Big Vince Young fan.
Well,
of course, here in Texas, who's not? You know?
I mean, I like Vince Young in the NFL, but that's because Vince Young had the simplest playbook of all. Texas
that's
playbook.
why Johnny Manziel liked him.
Vince Young has 6 plays in all of college. Vince run right, Vince run left, Vince run straight, and then it was all 3 of those throw.
Yep.
And that won a national championship. How good was USC that year? With that said, we won't go too far in with the preseason, but I will ask you this.
We got football tomorrow.
We have football tomorrow.
Or you're watching this tomorrow. We got football today.
Yeah. And the thing that you watch, the real reason you watch fantasy football or preseason football is for your fantasy team. That's why you watch it.
Fantasy depth.
You want to know who do you need to have as a stash player, who do you want to have as the guy that people aren't drafting early enough and you think you could get. Who are your guys? So, yes, we're in a league together, but in the value of leagues I pay for, this is our lowest budget one, so I'm not scared to give you some of my guys I like because it ain't really going to bug me. So
just for tomorrow's game, or
just in general, guys.
Okay.
As we get into the season, who are some guys that are sitting on there for our fun friends that are getting ready to start their drafts? Some of us have already done some, but some of our other drafts are coming. Who are some guys that you're looking at? Some of the guys that, right now, for example, Nick Chubb has no true backup depth right now. An offensive weapons all around him and a good offensive line. He's only getting drafted in the 2nd round in most fantasy drafts, and I think he could be the number 1 overall scorer.
I think he should. My honest opinion is, depending on the size of your draft, I think he should be in the 1st round. Yeah. There's no reason why he should be in the 2nd.
No, I think there's way too much upside on a guy that's been one of the best running backs in the league the last couple years to not go in the 1st round. It's very true. And he's strong as an ox. He's very much like Derrick Henry, where there's no hesitation of how well he takes care of that body.
Yep. He's one of those that you can always trust.
He's a bigger name guy. Let's talk about those middle of the road guys, 5th round, 8th round, guys that are going to be league winners. I've got a couple of guys that I think of. Who's some names that you think could really bust out and have good seasons?
Someone that can bust out and have a good season? All right, so I think Zach Charbonnet, just because Ken Walker has proven last year and already this year that he can't stay healthy.
True.
So Zach Charbonnet has a good shot at being a starting running back for the Seahawks. You are going to be a high-profile scoring team.
I have winning a division in a parlay bet.
And so Ken Walker is a really good running back, but from last year, his injuries, and he's already this year he's got injuries.
You just don't want him. The worry for Seattle is that he becomes DeAndre Swift. That's what you don't want him to be. Because right now the Eagles are literally saying everything we heard from Lions camp last year. DeAndre Swift is running away with the job in Philadelphia. They say he's glowing. He's amazing. Is he going to make it through week 1?
I would sell him. Nope, I'm not buying it.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't want to draft him because there's too much proven history in my thing.
At the same time, his backup is Rashad Penny.
And he's the same situation.
Yeah.
Like, I think you end up getting to the point where you're looking down going, okay, so maybe I need to worry about what Kenneth Gainwell gets. Because Gainwell proved he could be productive, but he's so small that you worry he's going to get hurt.
Yeah. But as long as you have a more pass-first offense like Seattle can have easily, like, I think he'll work just fine if you're not trying to use him as a power back. So, like, having him would probably work better for their offense than having Swift and Penny, even though Penny, to me, is a top 15 running back in the NFL.
He just can't stay healthy.
He just can't stay healthy. There's a reason he was drafted in the first round.
The Eagles have a dynamic duo of guys that are stupid talented that just don't sell the field.
Yeah.
Like,
and I would say this, the red flag is, I think everyone knows this by now, is Jonathan Taylor. Like, we have no clue what's going to happen.
And they brought Kareem Hunt in today.
And he left.
And he left without a contract after skipping the workout.
He had a contract, they just couldn't come to an agreement.
Yeah. And then he went to the deal with the Saints, didn't do the workout because the Colts called and said more money.
No, he did the workout.
No, the report I read today said he got there.
He got the contract offer before he did the workout. He still did the workout.
Oh, okay. See, I thought I read one that said that he went to the Saints before he started the workout. His agent said, "Get out of there. You have a better offer coming from Indy. Go to Indy."
He got it before he did the workout, but he did the workout and left to go there and do their workout, and then left without agreeing to the contract.
Gotcha.
Because the Saints offered him a contract.
Yeah.
It was just Colts had a better one.
And then you still have the situations going on with.
I want to go to the Colts.
Oh yeah. Then you still have the situation going on with Jacobs. So you know what's going to go on there.
Yeah.
So you need to learn about guys like Zamir White.
Yeah.
He might be someone to keep an eye on. He was a guy at Georgia. Didn't really see a lot of playing time last year because Jacobs was very well dominant.
Josh Jacobs didn't when he was in Alabama.
Yeah, like it's very true. So it could be interesting there. A guy that I like, and it's mostly because he's a very good pass catching guy. He's on my screen now, but I actually have been drafting him. Is a Rashad White.
Yeah.
I think that the Bucs are just that bad. That I don't know that Rashad White runs for more than 600 yards this year. I think that he probably catches 95 balls, though. Like, he was already a high-efficient running back out of the backfield catch guy last year. Like, I really think you could see him being 1,000 yards of total offense because of 800 yards in receiving yards. Like, that kind of guy. So I really like him, and he's been a guy you see usually going in that 5th to 6th round. Like, a guy that has upside that you can do.
That high?
I got him at 61, I think.
Rashad
in the 12-team league. ESPN showing as an average draft of 56.
Yeah, okay, I can see that.
But right underneath,
I haven't done any drafts yet. So.
Right underneath him, a name they like that I don't like at all is Alexander Madison. I stay completely away from Alexander Madison.
Yeah.
I don't think he brings anything special to the table. I think that all their passing work's going to go to other guys that are behind him on that depth chart.
Dang it. I had his name written down and I deleted it because I was like, it's not.
No way, he'll come up.
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's a Ty Washington or Ty, one of those names.
Ty something. Ty Johnson.
Yeah, he's going to be.
Ty Johnson.
Yeah, I think he's going to see more of the receiving work. I don't think that he brings the complete back that you get out of Madison, out of Cook. Another guy likes James Cook, the brother.
Yeah.
The only reason I like him is the upside of how powerful that offense is. I think he brings burst on the ground.
But I worry about him because Damian Harris is the better running back.
True, but Damian Harris is what we've said in Rashard Penny and DeAndre Swift. The last 2 years, Damian Harris has gotten hurt. That's why I want
that's like Stevenson just took playing time. Like he got hurt last year, but he hadn't had a history of getting hurt.
I feel like he's been getting hurt.
He's always shared time with like James White and all the 9 running backs that the Patriots had.
But now the Patriots don't have those, so I really like.
Yeah, and then they were like, oh, well, now we have him and Stevenson, and all of a sudden Harris did really good, and then they were like, oh, but we have Stevenson, so we're going to play him too. And then Harris did get hurt, and Stevenson took over completely, and they were like, all right, we're just going to stick with him since he's at the end of his contract. Like Harris has actually been pretty solid. He just had that one injury last year. But yeah, on to the preseason games for like this week.
Yeah.
You got the Texans and the Pats. Stroud is starting that game.
He is.
So we are going to see C.J. Stroud up close and personal. I'm excited to see that. The other thing is...
And John Michie. You get to see John Michie take a football field.
Yep. We finally get to see that.
Defeats cancer and gets to come back and play on the football field. That's kind of in line with what we had with Liam Hendricks in baseball.
Yep. The other thing is 2 receivers are going to be battling. Not the receivers that you're going to be thinking of. 2 different receivers. Because that's actually in another game. I just now realized that. But we're going to be seeing your boy, your LSU boy, Kayshon Boutte.
Oh, Kayshon Boutte, yes.
Kayshon Boutte.
Yeah,
and Demario Douglas. Both of them are 6th-round receivers by the Patriots.
Yeah.
And Demario Douglas, I don't know if you've seen
I've heard he's played really well in
the
camp.
videos. He is 7-0 in one-on-ones.
Is it really?
And
I've
has
heard he's
even
played really
embarrassed first-round pick Christian Gonzalez.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
Well, good. I hope Christian Gonzalez is a bust.
So, Boutte is one of those that is on the cusp of it's either going to be him or Demario getting cut.
I bet you Boutte ends up as a practice squad guy.
Yeah.
Because they'll play the we still think he could be getting healthy card because of the upside of what he was in the draft prior to injuries and things at LSU.
Mm-hmm.
I still think that if we see a receiver in New England get cut, it's going to be Devontae Parker. I don't.
No.
I don't.
They
I just
just
don't know.
extended him.
Did they extend? How'd they extend him? Just assuming guarantees more to it.
Go to it. Free agency. New England.
I don't know. I like Devontae Parker as a player. Like I did, but he was one of those guys that could never step the field in Miami. He had one really
extended
good
him until 2026. Yeah, they just extended him.
Wow, that's surprising.
So no, he's not getting cut.
Well, I don't know. I just figured
it's
he'd be one of those
Tyquan Thornton
guys.
The 3 that it is Tyquan Thornton, Demario Douglas, and Kayshon Boutte. Those are the 3 that I would say are on.
Wow, if you look on ESPN right now, Tyquan Thornton's like they're starting.
Yeah, that's why I'm saying it's between those 3, like because it's
five,
basically
though.
between Douglas and Demario.
Okay.
So
then we have a bunch of games Friday.
Then you have the Vikings and Seahawks.
Oh, that's right.
Yep. And that's the one that I'm going to be excited about. Receivers going against each other. That's Addison versus our boy JSN.
Yeah, and
so
I really like Addison. And Addison's a guy that taking the Adam Thielen role in a high-powered passing offense. I think
he's
still
real good too.
I was saying, yeah, he's gonna look good. I think that he's gonna be more in the role than what he was. Now it's outside of what he was kind of doing at USC. From everything said, he wasn't really going to come.
He's going to be in the same role that he was in Pitt.
Yeah, and that's the role that he's always said. Like that was part of the problem at USC is he wasn't in the role that he was comfortable with. That's
they made him an outside receiver instead of a slot receiver.
Yeah, and so I think that you're going to see him working more inside. That's going to help Jefferson. You're going to still have Hawkins in there. I think the problem's going to be there is what's going to hurt their game this season is the lack of a running game and no defense. We know they don't have much of a defense, but I just don't think they have any kind of established running game that Dalvin Cook would have bringing to them, any fear of that. And I think that that's going to put too much pressure on Kirk Cousins. We've said it. I don't hate Kirk Cousins, but I don't think that you can bank on him winning the game because he has nothing special to his game.
No, it will not. They didn't upgrade the offensive line. They extended Garrett Bradbury, or they signed him to a big contract, and everyone else is the same. So they brought in N'Keal Harry. That's what they did. N'Keal Harry.
Yeah, no.
Hey, former Patriot. We just got
guys that got cut and couldn't make it on the team.
running back room for the Seahawks is not looking too good.
A lot of injuries.
A lot of injuries. A lot. Ken Walker's hurt. Charbonnet hurt his shoulder, but he's back. He's already back. Okay. He's going to be doing the walkthroughs on Friday, and they expect him to be in the preseason game. But the DJ Dallas is okay. And then the fourth running back, Kenny McIntosh, sprained his knee last week. So they're basically down to 2 running backs.
The only team doing worse on injuries is the corner room for the Falcons right now.
Yeah,
they're losing them left and right in Atlanta.
So you got that. That's basically all the football for Thursday night. And then you got a ton of Friday games.
Yeah, no high school yet. So the NFL said, "Oh, there's no Friday night lights. We'll make your lights.
We'll do it."
You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games. Local ties would be for us. For me, would be the Dolphins. The Giants play the Lions, and Washington plays Cleveland. So Cleveland has to play the Hall of Fame game and then turn around and play a Friday game. What a kick in the nuts.
Yeah. And then the Cowboys, Colts at Buffalo, Tennessee at Chicago, Jets at Carolina, Jaguars at the Cowboys, the Eagles at the Ravens, and the Chargers at the Rams are all on Saturday. And then Sunday is the Chiefs and Saints and 49ers in Vegas.
I love how they put them at noon and 3 on Sunday, like they were going to get their normal viewing audience. Like, look, we're not watching this. We're not going to come watch the quarterback battle between Trey Lance and Sam Darnold for second quarterback in San Fran.
Right. You know what? I even have that written down. I was Trey Lance and Sam Darnold battling for a QB2.
Yeah.
Will Levis right now is
I think
locked
if you're
in at QB3.
I'm gonna say,
so he is behind Malik Willis.
Is he? I think if you're the kid that I just said his name, Trey Lance, I think you need to kill it in the preseason because you're auditioning.
Yeah.
I think at this point...
At this point, you're either...
I don't think they can go back to you even if Brock Purdy's not the answer. I think it's one of those things where that confidence break is there. And so now it's time for new scenery. So put that shit on tape.
Yep.
Because you need to show people that you can have a chance so that you can be a guy like a Marcus Mariota was last year that people thought, he might have it still. Let's see if he can. Yeah. But if he flames out, we drafted someone.
And then... in very surprising, but it is the Colts. Anthony Richardson and Gardner Minshew are both named QB1.
I would still stand by. I'm shocked. If I understand they're going to probably do it because it's the Colts.
Yeah.
I don't think Richardson should start week 1. We've talked about it. He's not ready to go out and play NFL football. And if you're just banking on him learning how to throw over the games, like, okay, that seems ballsy. Mm-hmm. But, like, maybe the only other thing that scares me is that they actually think Gardner Minshew might go out and be a better passer to the point they're worried about putting Richardson in.
Where you go? Now you can't put him in.
Like, oh, shit. We've won a couple games, and Gardner Minshew, we all know, if he wins a couple games and comes out 2-0, he's gonna let us know.
Minshew Mania is going to go
nuts.
Hype.
Like, I will be on the train. Like, it's not gonna matter. I mean, even the games that he played last year for the Eagles, he played 2 games for the Eagles. He looked okay in one. Like, he did not lose them a game as their starting quarterback in the games he played, not because of him necessarily. So, like, I'm sitting there saying as a Colts, like, I truly thought we might see Gardner Minshew get the reins for the season. Like,
I didn't think it was going to be for the season.
If it was, I would say we would see it, I guess, kind of like what we saw with Ritter last year. I think we see 6 to 7 games of him, and if they're 4-3 or 3-4, but they're playing okay, you let him ride it out and keep developing.
The only problem with that is Ritter was a 3rd-round draft pick.
Yeah.
Not a top 5. So it's a little harder to make that.
I guess I'm looking at the fact though that they took that top 5 guy knowing that he wasn't solely on this. They didn't account. They didn't factor that they need to do that. I don't think.
Yeah.
And you got 5 years of him. You can option him. It's not like he has to go out there. Like I don't want to rush him through the door and him be not ready and sets him backwards.
I would do what you're saying and start Minshew first. Just so you can let him experience it without having to right the get-go.
Yeah.
Let him experience the experience from the start first.
Let him come running into the football field and see what an NFL game looks like before he has to play in one. Because playing in an NFL preseason game is not playing.
Nothing.
It ain't playing on Sunday. Yeah. It isn't playing in.
You're
it's
playing
the Colts,
against guys
so you're not going to play very many prime time.
Hoping to get time on Sundays.
Correct. Like, you're not going to... And so that's going to be, like, I don't know. I think it'll come down... Because it's the Colts, I think it'll get handled wrong, and I think we'll see Anthony Richardson. I think 3 games in, he likely gets hurt because he's trying to run like a god. Oh, yeah, but he's going to try so hard to do things. He's gonna get hurt probably running. It's going to be like a knee sprain, misses 3 games, 4 games, and then Gardner Minshew has to come and play anyway when you could have started Gardner Minshew and given the kid time to develop his passing game.
Well, so one of the other things in quarterback land is Teddy Bridgewater to the Lions, which I thought was, like, amazing. Like, that was one of the smartest things that the Lions could have done. Because you give Goff, or you give the Lions, a good quality quarterback in case Goff gets hurt because Hooker ain't ready.
No.
So that's what that means. That means Hooker ain't ready. So we need someone to step in just in case Goff gets hurt. So you got
we know we
really
have a
good
playoff caliber roster.
Yeah. So you got a really good quarterback to come in.
For pennies
to
be your backup quarterback. Well, I mean, I'd say really good. He's a good backup. But.
Yeah, I think he's the best backup you can get. As a backup quarterback,
watched him play last year in Miami. Says there were some days where he wasn't very good in an offense that they say is simple to run.
But on top of that, you got running back news. Kamara got 3-game suspension. I think we went over that last week a little bit. We talked about it, but I don't think the suspension came through.
Yeah, no, we talked that he was a potential. He's going to get 3 games, so that's why the Saints were trying out guys and signing some guys. But, I mean, other than that, there's not a ton. It's just kind of getting into it and watching it process. Oh, you have something else?
I still got a bunch of stuff.
Look at you having stuff I wasn't ready for. Here we
go. We got to talk about Undisputed.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Richard Sherman is coming in for 50 to 100 episodes.
Yeah, 25.
Huh?
He's going to be at 25 because Skip Bayless is going to quit or have a stroke before then.
So 50 to 100 videos. It's only going to be during the NFL season. And he is also going to be joined by Rachel Nichols.
All right.
So that was actually reported today.
Cool.
And on Fridays, Lil Wayne.
Oh my God, help me.
So that's what we're going to be seeing on Undisputed for at least this season. Who knows what's going to happen on next season, but at least for 1 year.
And then I heard
which starts on the 28th. That'd be their comeback shows on the 28th.
Wasn't there whispers too that Shannon might get on to First Take with?
I don't know.
I heard whispers that Shannon
and Sherman is also staying on Thursday Night Football on Amazon.
Okay.
So
he's good. I like him talking about football. So he knows his stuff.
He's staying there. There's also whispers that Keyshawn Johnson may even get some kind of role on Undisputed as well. So there's a lot of things going on. How about Colin Cowherd? I don't know if you heard about that.
Yeah, totally screwing up. It wasn't. I hear it wasn't as much his though. Like he was reading a prompter, and that his backstage people really set him up to fail, and he didn't see it.
Basically, he had a Ron Burgundy. Go fuck yourself, San Diego moment, and basically named quarterbacks that would never reach the Super Bowl and decided to name Dwayne Haskins, who passed away last year. One, it's a fail on the prompter. That's a fail on the people with the
20 people that check what's going to go on the graphics.
And that's a fail on him for reading what was in front of him, because you should be able to know that and go, whoa, wait a minute. He didn't even mention it after he read it. He just kept going.
No, he tried to do the, and I can see both sides of this, but what I would have done is I would have 100% done the play it off bit, like keep going, ignore what happened, and then when we come back from break, go, hey, there was a mistake on our end, I'm so sorry. They didn't do that. If he'd have just come back on the other side of it and said, forgive us for the mistake, the end, we could have all moved on. It was the fact that they just played the ignorance as bliss card and acted like nobody heard that. The whole world hears everything.
Yeah. And I looked on Twitter to see if they posted a video of apologizing. Nothing.
No.
They're going to act like it didn't happen because the video is not on Twitter, or at least on his Twitter. It's not there. So
no, it was on.
It's on Twitter today. It's just not on his page anymore.
Yeah.
The other news is Henry Ruggs got 10 years.
10 years.
It's 10 years with eligibility for parole after 3.
And after 3 years, he'll only be 27. If he's still in good shape, he could play football.
He's probably not going to play. They're probably not going to let him play football.
I don't think they will either. But
if you're wondering about this, I looked it up, and it's a 2 to 20 year sentence.
There was a plea struck.
And hold on. So here's the plea. The plea was they were worried, the plaintiff, right? Because he would be the defendant because they're going after him?
Yeah.
Okay, so the plaintiff, they were worried that they were going to lose the DUI report on him. So they went into a plea deal to where he couldn't nullify or go against the ruling, and they get to pick the judge. So they still picked the judge that ruled against him. Like the plaintiffs did. So they still got what they wanted, It's just the sentence wasn't the 2 to 20. He ended up getting 10 with a possibility after 3.
Gotcha. Okay.
And so it's actually, when I looked it up, it's actually a quite normal type of thing in that situation for an intoxication vehicular manslaughter. Okay, so it's not out of like, oh my God, it's because he's famous that they didn't. It's actually a normal type of thing.
Okay.
But the fact that he was going 156, they probably should have tacked on a bit more. Well, that's all I'm saying.
And someone died going 150 miles an hour, and
maybe like 5 or 6
minimum.
For your, then you get to
don't even give him the speculation of the opportunity to come out and play any kind of football, like any kind, like arena, any of that. Like he needs to be in his 30s where he's past that ability.
3 years where he can't even have his driver's license, so he can't drive, and then after the 3 years, he has to have 2 years of the breathalyzer in his vehicle. So
which
that's at least 5 years, and then after the 2 years, he can reapply for his driver's license.
Okay.
So that's after he gets out. So he's going to have to serve, and then he's going to have to deal with that.
Yeah. So he's got a long time.
So he's got a long road. And then the one other thing that I thought was funny today was Miles Jack just signed with the Eagles.
Oh yeah, I saw that.
You saw that? Where he thought about becoming a plumber or an electrician.
Yeah, he said he was about to go to trade school, and now he's getting first team reps on the Eagles. I mean,
crazy.
What a team to get first team reps on? Like, they're going to be a contender.
Yep.
So.
And then one more thing that I wanted to hit on, because I think it's a big thing, and it's a player you already mentioned. So, comeback player of the year odds.
Oh, well, I'm out. Oh, well, I mean, it's going to be DeMar Hamlin. If he touches the field, he's comeback player of the year.
So, you have a player that came back from the dead, DeMar Hamlin. You have a player that beat cancer and is coming back to the field, John Mechie.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
Man.
Then you have Lamar Jackson, who tore his ACL.
I mean, I thankfully that is coming back, so I respect that he's on the list.
Yeah.
But
Russell Wilson, because he sucked.
That's fucking stupid.
Well,
you can't suck and be on the list. Geno Smith.
There we go. Tua is on the list
for being
for having 5 concussions. Breece Hall for tearing his ACL. Calvin Ridley for not being in the league for 2 years.
Being suspended.
Cooper Kupp for tearing his ACL. Odell Beckham from tearing 2 ACLs.
True.
And Dameon Pierce, I know he got hurt.
He got hurt and missed the last 6-7 games.
I don't know if it was an ACL tear or not. But Dameon Pierce is on the list. So
DeMar
Hamlin is minus 250, and John Mechie is plus 1,800.
I was going to say, I think the only way that it's not DeMar Hamlin is if John Mechie just comes out and just scorches earth. Like, fucking Pro Bowl. Like, if he's a Pro Bowler, then you have to look at it and go, I mean, he died, but he could have died. Like,
right?
I mean, it sounds terrible, but, like, it's freaking cancer. Like, we all put shirts out that say, fuck cancer with little icons. Like,
and the NFL has a breast cancer month.
Yeah, they have a whole
month. It's
month.
not breast cancer that he survived from, but cancer,
No, he was leukemia.
Yeah, leukemia.
Yes, leukemia.
So you have those that are in the comeback player of the year odds. Obviously, the 2 that are the front runners are going to be DeMar and John Mechie.
It shouldn't be anybody else.
So,
and honestly, you beat cancer and you come back to play sports, you automatically win the award, except for when someone dies. Like, sounds horrible. Like, thankfully he lives, and now you can joke about it. It's like, why do men live less than women? Well, because he's still playing football. Like,
So that was all the stuff I had for football.
All right. Well, I did have a. We went a little bit there. So
we did. I had a lot for. You know what?
Okay, we'll save some talking points for the future.
I got some NCAA football real quick.
Okay, go for that.
Here we go.
And then we'll slide
There's a TCU offensive lineman recruit. He's from Dallas. 6'5", 455 pounds. That's a massive boy.
He was a big one. And if you look at the pictures of him where his jersey, it's like way up here, like it doesn't come down. Yeah, the kid from Sock. Yeah, he played against my alma mater.
Now, let's hit the top 10 quarterbacks for next season. You posted it?
I did.
So I wanted to talk about it.
I need to find it.
So, Caleb Williams is number 1. Drake May is number 2.
No shot.
And you know what?
It's interchangeable.
Yes, 100%.
It's interchangeable. You can say either one and be happy.
After that, I have a lot of concerns. Michael Penix. This dude has so many injuries that there's no possible way I would put him in number 3. That's my honest opinion.
I don't like 3, 4, or 5.
Okay, so
being honest.
Sam Hartman, this is the reason why I want to do this. So Dane Brugler put his top 10 quarterback list out like a month ago. Sam Hartman is the number 11 senior quarterback on his list.
Yeah, I wasn't.
Not even top 10, his number 11 senior quarterback.
He's getting inflation from going to Notre Dame. I don't like Bo Nix because, honestly, I liked Bo Nix at Auburn, and you could see that he couldn't cut it in the SEC. And just because he went to what is a dead conference now in the Pac-12 and showed out doesn't make you NFL ready. Like, I'm sorry. You play good in Oregon's offense where anyone who can make a quick read and has legs can play good. Like, that's that offense. It hasn't been different since Chip Kelly.
You would love to have an Oregon quarterback for your quarterback, wouldn't you? No, you wouldn't want Justin Herbert as your quarterback?
I mean...
burn! Oh, that hurt, didn't it?
I guess.
That hurt, didn't it?
I'd still take him over to...
So, another one that really... I kind of laughed at it when I saw it was Cam Rising at number 8. Cam Rising is Dane Brugler's number 15 senior quarterback.
Yeah.
How about Grayson McCall at 9? Yeah, that's Dane Brugler's number 16 senior quarterback.
It was an interesting
And
list.
then Jalen Daniels is Dane Brugler's number 25 senior quarterback.
Yeah, these are just the seniors, by the way, guys.
Just the seniors. That's not including underclassmen. So
you can see. I will say, I think Quinn Ewers makes or breaks himself from. I think he's the closest one. Like, he's gonna be QB3. Like, we're gonna watch when the draft comes this year. If he has a good season, I think we see Williams in May, and then we always have that quarterback that's 4 or 5 picks later. I really think it's gonna be Quinn.
Let me pull that up because I do have one. It's not 100%. I do have Quinn Ewers actually as the QB3.
Yeah.
To the Falcons at number 9. That is one of the things that I thought was funny. So here's a difference here. Dane Brugler has Caleb Williams, Drake May, J.J. McCarthy of Michigan.
Okay, yeah, I've heard of him.
Riley Leonard from Duke.
I've heard the name, yes.
Quinn Ewers, Nix, Travis, Michael Penix, Jaden Daniels.
Which is LSU's quarterback.
And then...
who had a very good season last year.
Yeah. Tennessee's Joe Milton.
Who supposedly can throw a football 90 yards in the air.
That's apparently
what he
says.
I
was like, Jesus
he
Christ.
says he can throw it 90 yards in the air.
There was a quarterback from South Carolina or something like that said he could.
Yeah.
And then his number 11 quarterback, and I had to do number 11 because it wasn't mentioned, but number 11, Shedeur Sanders.
Man, I hope he kills it.
So
I really do want to see him kill it because I'm a big Coach Prime fan, and I would love to see his son just go and freaking scorch earth in the last year of the Pac-12.
It would be great. It would be great for...
He could, if he goes and has a ridiculous season, like, he's a Heisman candidate next year.
Yep.
Because he'll come to the Big 12, which will be seen as a better conference of football, and be able to go out and put up a and then, now, if he goes out and gets into Heisman contention, now we're talking Sanders in the first round.
100%.
As simple as that. Like, this move from Jackson State to his... If you don't think that this man didn't take Colorado's coaching job because he loves his son, I'm just saying. Like, he knew he had his quarterback. He gets his son to the big stage. If he goes and makes plays... Honestly, if Sanders goes and throws at a Heisman caliber year this year, he's eligible. Like, he could go now.
Yeah.
I wouldn't because I think he's connected to Travis Hunter at this point. I think they come out at the same time.
Yeah.
But...
So, the other thing that I want to hit on, the Pac-12, we talked about it last week. And
a lot of the schools we talked about happened the next day.
Next day, they were moving. So, the Pac-12 is basically done. They have Washington State, Oregon State, Cal, and Stanford.
I see one way it stays alive. And now,
they ain't staying alive.
There's only one way I can see it staying alive, and it's on this thought process. And I don't know that it's going to happen because this conference already came out and said basically no.
Mountain West?
Yes. If I'm the Mountain West, Stanford's already said we want to stay in a Power 5 conference. If I'm Stanford, I call the Mountain West and I go, look, you just bring us everybody. Let us be the Pac-12. Y'all bring your same fucking leadership and we're all Power 5 still. If they annex the Mid-Mountain West, you eliminate the Mountain West, you essentially save a Power 5. You will be the worst conference. You will be what the ACC has been for the majority of the last decade.
Yeah.
but you will still be the last Power 5 conference.
Speaking of the ACC, Notre Dame has been pushing the ACC to get Cal and Stanford to join. Regionally, it makes no freaking sense.
No, but it's for the rivalries.
But
Notre Dame wants the Stanford football game.
And it's also for the fact that they also meet the education standard
of the ACC. I would almost guarantee that the Notre Dame, for the first time in a long time, said we will go a full commit to the conference if you bring them in.
Yeah.
Because
they're full committed to the ACC and everything but football. Football is the only thing that they're independent in.
Yeah.
So
and they only play a partial ACC schedule.
If you are talking to ACC to get Stanford in there, I think it's to join.
Yeah.
So you're talking about Cal, Stanford, and Notre Dame being in the ACC.
Mad props to the leadership of the SEC coming out and saying, we don't have to make our kids fly 4 hours to play good football. that was what the leader brass of the SEC said. He goes, I don't have to make my teams fly 4 hours to play good football.
So what does that mean for the rest of the teams? So Washington State and Oregon State, do they essentially join the Big Ten? Or would they?
I don't think the Big Ten wants them. I think the Big Ten's going to
go to the Mountain Conference and go, maybe you're the new Power 5 because Pac-12 is gone.
Yeah, Pac-12's gone. The only thing is we join you and come to the Mountain West, or you see Washington State there could be some tie to get them in the Big 12 possibly, but that's a time zone thing. So, but then again, we've seen they're not really worried about time zones. So
So that's all I had on college.
Okay.
So now we can move on.
Well, what I will say, the other sports not a ton that we're going to talk about. Baseball standings. We've gone into them some. I had a little fun game. I'll save it for next week. We'll just save that.
Okay.
That little.
No. You
want to do it now? You want to do it now? Okay. So a couple weeks ago, when Max Scherzer was traded to the Rangers, he sat down with an announcer and they said, let's have some fun, Max, because, nowadays announcers are having a little fun asking these guys different questions. Like, I'd be great at that role, like, to ask a random question.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my goal is to get on Media Row and be that guy. But they, his question was, name your Mount Rushmore of pitchers you've seen and pitchers you've never seen. Now, I'm bending the rules a little bit because I think what he meant by seen was they wanted you to have seen them in person. And, yes, I've been to tons of baseball games, but there's still guys that I've seen more on television and things like that I'm going to put on that list. So let's start with the older guys. Let's go with the haven't seens because we might have a little bit of fun with this one since I know we have a name that I haven't seen that you have.
Mm-hmm.
But for the most part, I would be shocked if some of our names aren't even the same.
I would almost say at least.
I'd say about. I bet
we
hit on
can't say all four because clearly one is not.
Yeah, I bet half of them is the same. Yeah, so we'll go. You want to go one at a time? We'll draft style.
Yep, go ahead.
All right, so I'll go first. I want to save the one that's not the same for last.
Okay.
So my first one's gonna be. I would have to say, how do you not watch Cy Young?
Got it.
Yeah, like how do you not? My next one would be Walter Johnson.
Is it my go? We're doing.
Oh yeah, no, I'm sorry, I went with that because you said Cy Young. You had him. My bad.
All right. You know what? Yeah. Go ahead.
So then my next one, since we both had Cy Young, would be Walter Johnson.
Okay. I didn't have him. Sandy Koufax.
Yes, I can see that, but my scene one has what I see as the reincarnation, essentially.
Okay.
So.
All right.
So, go for it.
Bob Gibson.
Yes, and I hate the Cardinals.
I knew it!
I hate the Cardinals, but they changed rules for how good Bob Gibson was. Like, they helped establish mound heights and stuff because Bob Gibson was so dominant. And they say that one of the guys on the local radio was talking about how his grandmother used to hype up when the Cardinals played the Dodgers because of Koufax versus Gibson. Like, could you imagine you get to see them both at the same time? Like, now, the fun one is, this is where you get to see our age gap. It isn't a huge gap, but we're talking 6 years here, 7 years. I've never in my life legitimately gotten to see, excluding videotapings of Nolan Ryan pitching a baseball.
And I have.
And he has.
And my last one is Satchel Paige.
Which I contemplated him over Walter Johnson, but there was a caveat for me there because by the time he got to the bigs, he was aged. I don't think to see him in the bigs. I wanted to see Negro League.
Yeah.
Satchel, where he was that nasty looking delivery he had. That would be the So, with that said, I'll let you lead it off. Let's go with our scenes.
All right.
Do we want to do our honorable mentions first? I know we each brought one
honestly
honorable
want to
mention.
do honorable mention just because.
All right.
I really like so. All right, so we have 4 names, but there's also one extra name just because it's something just a little bit different.
Our honorable mention guy that if we had to pull one guy, this would be the guy that is number 4. Like, this would be my number 4 for...
And is this your Sandy Koufax?
No.
Okay.
Now, that said, my best pitchers I've seen also, there's a little bit of a buy to it because I would have picked out individual pitch, like certain thing that stands them out. I think you're going to know my honorable mention.
Yeah.
I'll give you
more
this.
than likely.
Yeah, you go first, then I'll say it. Because
is he a Dodger?
No, he's not a Dodger.
No? Okay, that's mine. Okay.
So who's your honorable mention?
Hideo Nomo.
Okay, I remember him, yes. I would say that my honorable mention has the nastiest pitch to never crack 80. Tim Wakefield.
Yeah, Wakefield.
The knuckleball.
Yeah.
Because when
I couldn't think of his name.
When the knuckleball is on, there is nothing nastier because they don't know where it's going. It's literally just like...
Who was the last one to throw that before?
The last successful one was R.A. Dickey.
R.A. Dickey.
Yeah, and R.A. Dickey threw it hard. Like, he threw a knuckleball that was coming in at 79 to 80. Wakefield's knuckleball would vary from as slow as 61 to as high as 73.
Really?
Like, his knuckleball... And like, there's a whole documentary on the knuckleball.
Yeah.
And considering how nasty of a pitch it is, it's crazy that more people don't learn it. Because if someone learned it...
Because it's so difficult, though.
Yes,
that's
exactly.
That's what I heard.
And if you could learn it, though, with that 95-mile-an-hour fastball... Think of the speed drop and oh my god.
Goodness.
Like, that was how I broke video games. Like, I would be a career mode player and it would be a high fastball, we're throwing 99 to 100, 2-seam fastball because we need a ground ball pitch, sinker because we need a second ground ball pitch, and then knuckleball because that was our strikeout pitch, baby. We're throwing nuts. And so, no. Now, we'll go to the real ones. Go for it.
Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and start out with the one that everyone already knows. The one that you haven't seen that I have is Nolan Ryan.
Yeah.
The Ryan Express, baby. Texas Ranger.
Among 5 other teams. Or 4 other teams.
And Texas Ranger for life, baby.
All right, my first one, and I will argue he's my best pitcher of all time, so I would say is going to be Greg Maddux.
Okay. I had a feeling that you were going to have
there's
somewhat
just
of
there's a lean into the Atlanta Braves for me. I can't act like there's not.
Yeah.
I
figured there would be. My second one... You know, I had to stick with the Texas theme here because, you know, that's just who I am. And even though he's, you know, got some issues, it's Roger Clemens.
He does. He has.
The Rocket.
He has. But you know what? No, Roger was... He was something special. He always was. He was that bulldog. Him and Schilling, another guy with some issues, bulldogs. Like, you wanted them on the mound. You know who was like the poor man version of them that was a Texas guy? It was old Colby Lewis.
Oh, Colby Lewis.
I freaking loved Colby Lewis. Like, he was like the...
Colby Wilson.
No, Colby Lewis. C.J. Wilson was...
C.J. Wilson.
C.J. Wilson was a douchebag. Okay. Colby Lewis was cool as shit. He came over from Japan, and he would just eat up big innings for the Rangers in their playoff runs. All right, so my number 2 guy, though, Pedro.
I had a...
Pedro
very big feeling because when you talked about pitch style, I was like,
but no,
the
that's
changeup has to be one that he's talking about.
But my other one I think is why they get a link. My next one does because of the organization.
So I skipped. I'm like, okay, I went. All right, so my next one, I have clearly I have a preference because my next one is the big unit, Randy Johnson.
I had him on the idea.
So I'm all about that big arm and fast and getting it in there.
Oh, he does. And he killed a bird.
Getting it in there.
My third one, and this is the one that I said kind of gets that Koufax tie, and it largely because of the organization. And I've seen him in person and that multiple times. We're talking Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah.
The 12-6 curveball that Clayton Kershaw has mastered. I mean, we're talking the dude's been doing it since he was 20. And when he came out of high school, he wasn't that nasty curveball. That dude threw gas. Like, he developed one of the nastiest curveballs we've ever seen. And
that's
the dedication to the Dodgers, the fact that he was offered chances to go, he has hit free agency, he takes less money to stay there. Like, he will eventually pitch in another jersey, I think. Mm-hmm. But I think it'll end up we will always know him as one of the greatest Dodger players of all time.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I don't think you can question it. And especially now that he has the ring. Yeah. He brought a ring to L.A., and even if he wasn't the best player in the run, he helped bring one there. He will solidify himself as an all-time great Dodger.
And my last one, and this one is, it's controversial because not only did I pick one Yankee, because Roger Clemens was a Yankee.
It's true.
I picked another Yankee.
I won't disagree with your name, but I don't think.
You can't not name him the Sandman, Mariano Rivera.
Greatest walk-in entry of all time. The trumpet thing is crap compared to when Sandman came on.
Yeah, and you were like, it's over.
And
it's over.
Former pitchers would tell you that the umpires were like, there were special rules for Mariano Rivera. Like, he could throw 3 extra warm-ups in the bullpen, and then when he got on the mound, they'd be like, the commercial breaks over, and Mo would be like, no, I need one more. And they'd be like, okay, Mr. Mariano, throw one more. Like, you can't argue with that one. And I love it. The tendency people go to is starting pitchers, and like that's what makes it fun that you said him, because my next name did both. My next name, and like we said, I had a little bit of a brave tie coming in here. John Smoltz. Someone that could start me innings, eat innings early in his career, then went on to be one of the best closers in the league for a stretch of a while there.
For and then was five years or so,
and then comes out of the bullpen again like he never skipped a beat and was just bam, throwing all day as a starting pitcher. And so he's one of my favorite personalities in the game. I love watching him call a baseball game. He's just a genuinely kick-ass dude. Yes, there's probably been guys that do better stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But we're still he's a Hall of Famer. The transition to the rotation to the bullpen and back over a long stretch like that, guys don't do that well. We've seen guys fail at that.
Yeah.
So
it's a tough thing to do.
Yeah, and so that's what makes me, and that ability to be that versatile is what makes him be my number 4, like, on the mountain.
I do like the versatility of yours, and mine was more speed, closer.
Yeah, no, I honestly have.
And then Hideo Nomo.
3 of my guys were literally all based off. All 4 of mine. Most of them hit an average fastball of 93 to 95. Like, not crazy hard.
Nothing smoking, but still.
Maddox was the definition of pinpoint location. Yeah. Pedro could hit a pin needle from a mile away. Smoltz was the versatility. Kershaw was just one of the most devastating pitches I think I've ever seen.
I can't disagree with any of that.
But no, other than that, baseball standings. We talked about the Rangers are still in first. We'll dive in more on that next week as we keep running. I think the only other
they ended their 8-game streak.
They did. They lost today to the A's. The last thing I really was gonna bring up, because it is worth talking about, and we are coming near what we do on our time slot, and this will carry a little run here. It is Hall of Fame weekend in the NBA. Mm-hmm. For basketball, because in basketball does the Naismith Hall of Fame. It's not just one. So I'm going to say some of the smaller names, and then I'll get to the bigger names that we know we're getting in.
And then I'll drop a few little nuggets.
All right. We got Gene Biss, a coach, women's basketball, I'm pretty sure, all-time winningest college basketball coach across all levels. Over 50 seasons, 1,300 wins. Wow. Gary Blair, coach at Stephen F. Austin, Arkansas A&M, and the 2011 women's national champion at A&M. So 852 wins in 38 seasons. Becky Hammonds is getting in as a player.
Okay. That's not small.
She's not small. She's a big name. In my opinion, she's done more as a coach already, though.
Yeah.
And I think she should have gotten her chance as a man's coach. I still think that we will be robbed of her never getting it because she took the Aces job. I think she was Pop's successor. I really think that's who he wants. David Hickson, college coach. Gene Kennedy, college coach. Six-time National Coach of the Year for that guy at Western Kentucky and Purdue. So pretty big there. Now we get to the 5 biggest ones. These are the NBA players getting in. One is Kobe Bryant's best friend, teammate, 2-time champion, Pau Gasol. There's a great thing that's been going around with him about that Redeem Team thing they did on ESPN or on Netflix. Have you seen that clip about him and how the game started? Kind of showed how the kind of personality he was, because he knew probably faster than anyone that was what Kobe was about to fucking do. He knew the guy, so that's awesome. I guess I better save the big one for last there. We got Popovich, probably the biggest coach of all time. Most of the guys getting in, excluding the last name we're going to say, are guys Matt fans hate. We're talking Tony Parker. No Matt fan likes Tony Parker, but he's a 6-time All-Star.
Yeah, just because he's a Spur.
He's won 4 championships. I mean, he was a key part of winning 4 championships. He was one of the best players on those court every time. Everyone's least favorite one's going to be, and my wife calls him Smiley because he always had the biggest smile on his face. You can't hate him on that front, but Dwayne Wade's getting in.
It's hard to like him just because of the drama that went down.
Yeah.
But it's also, he's a very likable person.
He is. He's a great dude. His wife is a very famous actress.
Talking about how he was better than Dwayne Wade?
Yeah, and then did you hear Dwayne Wade's response?
Yes.
That he lives rent-free in that brain?
Let's be clear. No.
Then the last one in line with people we have hanging on the wall here is the big German. Dirk Nowitzki will be getting in. How do you not say I would say right now he's the greatest European player we've ever had. I think he's been the most successful. Now, don't get me wrong. We're watching a wave of Europeans that are about to get there.
We're about to see Jokic completely passing.
Yeah, Jokic.
Like he's already basically at that cusp.
Yeah,
because of what he's done.
Giannis, all of these guys are on pace to easily form a Mount Rushmore of European NBA players. There are other ones that were great, but Dirk is why, like we talk about Steph revolutionized the 3-point game. LeBron revolutionized, they say, the idea of positionless because of him playing all over. Dirk is why bigs shoot.
Yep.
Like, Dirk is the reason that we went away from your traditional big because we had a 7-footer that was knocking him down at a 42% clip, and he did it the whole time in one city, took pay cuts. Great dude, great character. Was leading celebrity fundraising games when he was here. Loves the community.
And screw anybody that says he was a buck. He was never a buck just because he was the NBA does stupid rules, and I disagree with him 100%. He was never a buck.
No, 14-time All-Star though, 12-time All-NBA, and the 07 season following the 06 season was pretty depressing, but I think his best season of basketball was still the 2011 season.
Yeah. It was without question.
The team of guys around him were a bunch of quality older veterans, but he literally was the best player on the planet.
Speaking of quality older veterans that played with him, Sean Marion's jersey is getting retired by the Suns.
It is. Him and Amari Stoudemire, 32 and 33, will both be getting retired. Those are the last time I cared. 32 and 33. They were one number apart. Yeah. They're the last time I cared about anything that wore a Suns jersey, though, because everything there now is just tainted by the nastiness of Booker and Durant. So, but there's some other ones like direct elect committees. Contributor committee is going to be Jim Valvano. You got to give him his call. He's got the most memorable speech in the history of the ESPYs, like Jimmy V. One of the most memorable national championship runs. You've got to give him his credit. I'm trying to see. There's veteran committee finalist people that haven't gotten in or gonna know names that are just wow.
Well, he's talking about
Chicago, Loyola of Chicago. There you go. They've been a big deal lately. Yeah, that's what they get. Golf clap, yeah. So that's about it though in the form of the NBA.
Well, talking about the international players, 2K24. NBA 2K24 came out today and named its highest rated NBA player, and his name is not LeBron James.
Well, okay, he's 21 years into the league.
I mean, but they still LeBron James.
He's still probably
it's 91. Jokic at a 98. He's probably at a 95 or 96.
The crazy thing is that there's not a single person rated 99 in the NBA. I like that. I don't think
they don't do it because the only person that they would ever do it to was Jordan.
No, they give it to him. Last year there were 3 or 4 guys that got to that point. They just I used to be an avid NBA 2K player. My career mode of all the sports games, career mode in 2K is the best one because you can take a single player and create him and then go play online with your friends in 7 different capacities. Whereas you can't do that in Madden. In Madden, you can start a franchise.
Yeah.
In soccer, you can start a franchise or whatever.
Sports games.
Yeah, but like if you're gonna do it, like when I play a game like that, I wanted to play with my buddies. Like that was the whole point of it.
Yeah.
And so 2K milked me for tons of money in my life because you want to get your player good enough to go play online against the other people. So you gotta figure out what build, and they had all kinds of stuff. Like it was a big deal for about 6 or 7 years for me and a group of guys. Like we had our own team that we'd go play. Like what they call the rec center, and we had, hey, we run in zone. Hey, we're all on our mics calling out. Hey, rotate pick. Like we were building our players based off how the other people's played, so that we could be successful using our guys. Like it was a huge deal. Like it's a big community 2K is. So they have their own pro league, the 2K league does.
That's pretty crazy. The other NBA news that I have is that an adult film company has offered Mark Jackson $1 million to be their play-by-play announcer for adult camp shows.
Wow.
So that's where Mark Jackson's at right now. He's clearly not going to take that, but it's still pretty funny that that was what was offered to him. And then, so the final thing, did you have anything else on the NBA?
No, I didn't. That was really just bringing in the Hall of Fame announcement as we get ready for the seasons.
The final thing that I think we're going to talk about, well, maybe two things. So, the U.S. women's national soccer team did not do well, and they're gone.
Yeah, and you've already had some notables retire from the team. One being Miss Ertz has hung up her boots.
Oh, okay.
She has come out and said that was it for her. But if you want to...
I'm assuming Rapinoe is going to
retire? I would hope.
Like,
I could root for him again if she goes. But here's the crazy part is if you go and look at the standings, I think I shared it on our Facebook page when it was going on, but going into bracket play, like, of the top 10 pre-World Cup rankings, like, 7 of them didn't even qualify for the round of 16. Like, Brazil, like, big name countries for the Women's World Cup were not even making it as we got into those next rounds.
Really?
Yeah, it was a big ordeal. And then, like, countries like Jamaica, who barely qualified at all, were getting into the round of 16, and I haven't got to check. Okay, so Jamaica did lose in the round of 16. They lost to Colombia 1-0 yesterday. And then France beat Morocco. England beat Nigeria in penalty kicks. I know the U.S. outplayed the Swedes, but they couldn't get the penalty kicks. Like, they lost in PKs. So the round of 8 starts, the quarterfinals start tomorrow. Yeah, tomorrow. You have Spain and the Netherlands, Japan and Sweden, and then Australia, France, England, and Colombia. That's your last 8 teams. Okay. So you got a little more to some of your notoriety names. But, yeah, there were some names that were falling off in the group stages that were huge surprises. Canada was a top 10 team. They didn't make it into the group stages, out of the groups. China didn't make it out of the groups. Portugal, Brazil, Italy, and Argentina both missed it in the Women's World Cup side. They lost out to Sweden and South Africa.
Wow.
Yeah. So definitely was some crazy teams that didn't. Germany didn't get in.
Okay, so it was kind of
it was a crazy Women's World Cup, they say, as far as teams that didn't get that advancement. So we'll have a champion in here in a few weeks.
The last thing that I was going to talk about is something crazy that I read on Twitter, and it concerns
X.
MMA.
It's on X now.
X, whatever, Twitter.
It's an X on my phone.
Mine is still Twitter because I haven't updated.
Mine updates, Twitter. And so all of a sudden I look down and go, why is it a black X?
Yeah. So something that I saw that I haven't actually heard put out yet, which is kind of crazy, is the courts have certified a class action lawsuit against the UFC. So if you've heard Logan Paul bickering with Joe Rogan about how much he pays his fighters and all that,
which has been
it's a thing that's been going on for a while, and it's been a lawsuit for a while.
Yeah,
but the courts have now certified it as a class action lawsuit now. With that being said, all fighters can now be a part of it. So every single one of them that have had an issue ever that have been a UFC fighter can now be a part of this.
I mean,
and
that's why you saw Conor go into boxing.
Yeah, this is what the courts have found. There was a series a series of tactics of numbers for a number of years to suppress fighters by ruthless and coercive practices. This is what the court found. Okay? It's been going on for 10 years, but is now class action, meaning that fighters can now all sign their name. They use oppressive contracts. They use ruthless taxes outside those oppressive contracts, keeping fighters from really ever enjoying free agency by basically forcing them to stay. Then the court also found that the UFC was buying up competition to make sure that the fighters wouldn't leave because they were leaving nothing out there for them.
Nothing that makes it worth their
so
money. That's remember, you gotta remember there's two professional leagues in boxing. There's the WBC and there's one other one, Federation or whatever. Whereas the UFC's always just been the UFC. And he has for this fighter. He gives them crappy cuts for what's going on. Like, it's been well known. The funny one is people crap on the Paul brothers, but Jake and Logan Paul have been screaming from the rooftops for 3 years now. Hey, you get paid like shit, come box me, I'll pay you better.
Like,
that's why they're doing it.
This is becoming a real legit thing now. Like, now that it's a class action lawsuit, like, this is a real thing that's going to start popping up on news sites.
$1 billion industry.
Here, not first, but unless you're on Twitter and you've seen it, but you heard it here first, kind of. So before it becomes big, you're going to go, oh man, I heard that on the Buck and Mike Experience.
Yeah.
Yes, you did.
And
another thing that you might not have heard is that McGregor came out and said that there may not be a Michael Chandler fight because the UFC doesn't want it, because they don't want to see Michael Chandler.
Yeah.
And he also came out and said that he has a planned rematch with Floyd Mayweather. And this time, he's going Babe Ruth on him with a KO. Because he said he was just playing with him last time.
Honestly, the only way he's going to beat him is, I wish it would happen. I hope someone does. I'm begging for someone to knock Floyd the fuck out. And then ruin it. Like, I don't care if they're going to say it's not official, it's an exhibition. Nah, bitch. It happened. I watched you get knocked out.
If it was recorded, it happened.
In my eyes, that will be Floyd's one loss.
All right. And of course, Logan Paul won against Nate Diaz. Surprise, surprise. You know.
Jake Paul.
Yeah, Jake Paul.
Now,
I said Logan. I meant Jake in that.
That said, though,
instance also.
Jake won. The fight went exactly like we said it would. We said Jake will outbox him. Nate will take a ton of punches and be cocky about it, and that's exactly. It was actually not bad to watch. Like, I watched it. I thought it was online for free. It wasn't. There were times where Nate's walking around like this bit, like. Punch me all you want.
There was one time where he punched him and he acted like he was falling down.
Yeah, like we said on here that Nate Diaz has a jaw like no one else. Like, it is made of leather. Like, you hit him and he doesn't feel it. So there were some shots though in the early part of the fight that they brung his bell. Like, you could tell.
I've seen it knock him down once.
Yeah, like, it was honest to goodness. Jake had some decent looking technique. He threw some good stuff. He stayed back. He threw a freaking guillotine or whatever on him at the end of the fight, like, because he knew he lost. But before the fight ever happened, Jake offered, in the contract for the fight, there's a $10 million option on Nate Diaz for this fight to be a rematch in the MMA. Like, it was given by Jake Paul. He said...
And he said it after the interview that their rematch is going to be an MMA fight.
Yes, because Diaz had to pick up the option. It was literally Diaz holding up the entire idea of having a second fight as basically a 1-on-1 like we see in football.
Yeah.
Home field for him is in the boxing ring and home field for Diaz is in the UFC ring. And all reports are is that Diaz has now decided that he's going to pick it up. But here's the thing. The only way that Diaz wins a fight in the ring is by tying him up like a pretzel. Because as hard as Jake punches, you give him smaller gloves, he can't fuck around and knock Nate out.
Yeah, but you ain't going to.
I don't think he's gonna, because I think that Nate's gonna get him on the ground and tie him up like a pretzel.
That first swing, Nate's going to get him and he's going to take him down.
Yeah, I think that the first time Nate misses and once Nate gets him on the floor, it's over. Like, he's not going to be able to keep up with black belt Brazilian jiu-jitsu. I don't care what kind of college wrestling experience he has.
Logan Paul is actually boxing someone.
Logan is about to fight someone else.
Yeah, I forgot.
But Jake did the whole. He's got experience in wrestling. Like, he did it in high school while he was a Disney Channel kid.
Dylan Dennis.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, they both fight, but Jake's the better fighter. Like, Jake's...
And Dylan Dennis has a $100,000 pullout clause in the Logan Paul fight.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, no, I Le'Veon Bell's been coming out running his mouth saying he wants to fight one of the Paul brothers, but like at this point,
I don't want to see a professional athlete from a non-fighting sport.
Paul, I keep pushing forward because I think that he's continuously looking better. Like he really is. I think him in the octagon will be fun because he does have knockout power. I just don't think he's not going to land it. Like Nate's not going to let him hit him in the mouth like he did.
He ain't the Iceman.
Yeah, so... But other than that, I don't have anything.
No, that's all I got.
All right, well
that's it.
Thanks again, everybody, for watching. Like always, we'll get the videos all popped up and everything. It'll be online in the morning, hopefully, for y'all to listen. Like, follow, subscribe. Y'all know the drill. We say it every time.
And
I think we're up to like 80.
If you got anything?
Job searches, don't forget to hit up Steve Farmer and S&K Consultants. They'll do a great job helping you out. I'm sitting here 6 months into a job, and I've already got a meeting with my boss's boss to talk about how I'm doing. So. Hopefully I'm doing good. I got an email from one of my properties that said, Steven, we love you. Don't ever leave us. I cut it out and taped it onto my desk. So y'all just take that opportunity. If you don't like where you're at or think you can do better, get with him. He'll help you out.
And check out my website, wolfmanchula.com.
Yeah, check out wolfmanchula.com. Check out our Facebook page. Hell, shoot us a message if you have a question. I tell y'all all the time, give us thoughts and opinions, and I'll send you a list, and then no one ever sends it to me. You don't like what I have to say, you can challenge my sports knowledge. I'll come back with you. I went in a debate with a guy on the discussion of the Paul brothers the night of the fight. And I don't even watch boxing. So, if you need anything, let us know. Hit us up. Thanks, boys.
Guys.
And girls.
And girls.